So today I went to see Megalopolis, but I did not see Megalopolis. I ended up seeing Joker Folie, Deux, which if you do your research, that's French for a shared madness, the idea that two people can share the same delusion that's not at all accurate. But really quickly, I went to see Megalopolis. I bought my ticket online, got to the theater, got my popcorn, my drink, went to sit down, or almost sit down. They scanned my ticket and they said, we're not playing that movie at this theater. Checked my phone, and for whatever reason, when I bought my ticket earlier in the day, it did not update my location, so it picked a different theater, not anywhere close to me. So I had a choice. I could either get a refund and go home with my popcorn and my drink or see something else. I was not planning on seeing Joker 2 in a theater, especially because of how poor the reception has been. Love the first movie, but I was just going to wait for this one to come on HBO or whatever, right? But I was there. I went and saw it. Here are my thoughts about Joker Folie Deux. The struggle this movie was always going to have with me in particular is that I am not a fan of musicals. I just don't like the medium. That's not to say that it doesn't have any kind of merit. I've just never really liked musicals at all. So there's an uphill battle at the start because of that for me as a viewer. Some people are completely different than that. They love musicals, and that's awesome for them. It's just never been my bag to really like musicals that much. And what I had read and seen about this movie is that it is, in fact, a crime musical, right? A follow-up to the original. I will say I love the original Joker. Saw it in theaters, thought it was a really great commentary on mental health, how we as a society treat those with mental health issues that need to be sorted out. A lot was said there, too, about gun violence. Just a lot of things were woven into that first movie that I thought made it work super well. It was a great origin story when you look at it from sort of the comic book perspective, too, even though I guess Todd Phillips and company say that Arthur Fleck is not really the Joker from the comic books, and there's some things that reinforce that, I guess, in Joker 2. And this is not going to be a spoiler review. I'm just going to offer kind of my bird's eye opinion on this. So I would not say that this is an objectively terrible movie, but before I get into it, quick summary. Really, this is just the immediate aftermath of what happened in the first movie, right? So if you've seen the first movie, you know that Arthur Fleck slowly descends fully, I guess you would say, into madness, murders a number of people. And so this movie is about his trial and his connection with Harley Quinn, who happens to be in the Arkham State Prison with him, right? I won't say any more about it beyond that, but that's what the movie is. It's the aftermath of the first movie. And it's kind of a courtroom drama. There's a little more to it than that, but that's sort of the main thing. This movie seems to be focused more on the idea of delusion and how people some people anyway, can create delusions in their minds to sort of push away the horrors of the world. The biggest problem here, I think, is that this movie doesn't have anything to say that's nearly as interesting as the original movie. There's certainly some artistic merit here. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is great. Lady Gaga is great. I think at the core of the movie, they do a really good job in their respective roles. Joaquin Phoenix returning as Arthur Fleck, as Joker, is great in that sense. He kind of slips right back into the role. It's almost like he has not missed a beat. I think Lady Gaga, she doesn't honestly have a ton to work with here. Like, her character is interesting, but at the same time, some of the decisions and things that happen with her character are super obnoxious. Like, she's not likable at all, and maybe that's the point. But that's the other big issue I have with this movie. It's depressing, right? Not that the first movie isn't depressing, but what it also had going for it is that it's a really good action movie. It's a really good origin story. There are great performances. There's great subtext. That stuff is not really here. There's an interesting enough kind of, thing here with the courtroom drama because you want to see what the follow-through looks like. And there are some interesting moments that happen, but it kind of flounders. Again, there's nothing really nearly as interesting as what you get in the first movie, and you don't really know where it's going, and you get the sense that maybe the writers didn't know where they were going with it. And again, those musical numbers are kind of peppered throughout, especially in the back half. It got to a point to where every 15 minutes or so, somebody starts singing. And quite honestly, I would just sort of pull out my phone and say, okay, how much do we have left of the singing and of this movie in general? Again, that's an uphill battle with me personally, but I thought that didn't work later on. I think it's a distinct case of less is more. Some of the musical sequences are interesting because they give you, and they're all designed to do this, but they give you a glimpse into Arthur Fleck's mind and that idea of delusion, but there's just too much of it. There's too much singing. I think if they had pared it back to like 3 songs for the whole movie and really sunk a lot of energy and sort of artistic nuance into that, it would have ultimately been more effective, but that's not what we get. We get a lot of songs peppered throughout. As great as Joaquin Phoenix is as an actor, he's not the best singer either, and I guess that's part of the point, but that just makes it that much more grating, quite honestly. So it feels like it's floundering. It feels like there's a lot of style here for the sake of style. It almost feels like, oh, we've got Lady Gaga in a movie. Let's see how many songs we can cram into this. I will say too, I thought the ending was not good, right? I mean, you want some kind of resolution for this character that we've seen in the original movie, sort of unspooling here through this, because there are interesting idiosyncrasies to Arthur Fleck. He represents a large segment of society that feels like they are not well understood, that they're spit on, and that's kind of the core of the first movie. Again, there are elements of that here, but the way that it ends, I'm just, I was watching it when it went to the credits and thinking, did they just kind of run out of ideas or not know how they wanted to end this whole thing? And I think in some ways there are some larger DC comic things that they were sort of insinuating with the way that it ends, maybe, but I just didn't like the conclusion at all. So while I think there are some artistic bright spots here and there, this movie just flounders. It doesn't really have anything significant or worthwhile to say in my estimation. So I didn't outright hate it, but I don't think it's very good, to kind of put it that way. So anyway, if you've seen Joker Folie à Deux, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, thanks so much for watching.